Oh, hello. I'm comedian, author, and full-time sperm bank donator, Pete Christensen, and this is my funeral eulogy video. So if you're watching this, I'm obviously dead, which would be a sad thing, but I'm a comedian, so I'm used to dying. Either that or you burglarized my home and all you got was this lame video, in which case it proves my theory that what you get for nothing is good for nothing, and you got more than you're paid for this time, didn't you? But we're here to examine Pete Christensen, the legendary figure. Who is this incredibly handsome, talented, and humble man that so many hundreds of thousands of people around the globe love so dearly? Well, to answer that, we must go back to my history. My grandfather, Ichiro Gonads, was a Kazikami pilot in World War II, and he accidentally landed his plane in war-torn Italy outside a brothel. That's where he met my grandmother, Shalata Copula, and it was love at first payment. I myself was born into a poverty-stricken family of sharecroppers living on Rodeo Drive. Now, you may remember my father. He played Scabby the Contagious Neighbor in the 1970s hit sitcom Daddy Does the Maid. My mother was a homebody and a fantastic cook. In fact, quite often we'd come home to find a truck driver's jacket hanging by the back door. Wonderful. I was a shy, retiring child. I learned about taxidermy quite frequently from my neighbor, my best friend, J.D. We were inseparable. But eventually, the Dahmer family moved away. I breezed through Catholic grade school. Of course, I say breezed through because I was rarely there. And I had spotted trouble in Catholic high school, but with the appropriate threats, bribes, and a scandal involving a middle-aged priest, I graduated with honors. I went on to attend Cardinal Stritch University in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. There I took up animal husbandry until they caught me and made me stop. Then I quickly transferred to Anthem College in Phoenix, Arizona, where I graduated as a medical assistant. I love the medical field. On my days off, I would often perform freelance autopsies on people in the park. One time, I performed a freelance vasectomy on a homeless man passed out on a park bench. Other than the constant screaming, I think it was a rousing success. But I had to follow my dream, and I went into show business. I was a ventriloquist known as Nerdini. That's right, ventriloquist and dummy all in one. But the world wasn't ready for that sophisticated highbrow humor. So I followed in the footsteps of my comic roles and icons, Alex Trebek, Neil Cavuto, and of course, Judge Clarence Thomas, Jokers all. My comedy career then took off. It took me to the most glamorous clubs throughout the world. Gut Jigglers in Cheyenne, Wyoming, the Greasy Beaver Massage Parlor and Comedy Club in Hog Squat, Kentucky. And you laugh, but I even played the MGM. That's right, the MGM. Merle's Gin Mill in Spleenburst, Iowa. Oh, those were glorious days. And I would be remiss if I didn't mention the many novels that were critically defamed across the world. I wrote, of course, a tender, moving love story about a young girl that falls in love with a cable TV installer. It was called She Knew She Loved Him When He Whipped Out His Coaxial. And then I wrote, of course, Close Encounters, the Harvey Weinstein biography. And finally, Why Do Bad Things Happen to Good People? The Trump administration. Now you'd think, movie, raconteur, bon vivant, comedian, author, that'd be enough. But no, I even wrote and produced an all-African-American Broadway musical called Brocklahoma. But despite the fame and fortune, the glitz and glamour, I'm just a normal, everyday, average guy who has a different woman put my pants on one leg at a time every day. And I want to say this to you men, a little bit of advice before I go. Advice you can live by. Put a ring through your scrotum. It's incredibly painful, but you'll never lose your car keys again. Remember my motto, clean mind, clean body.